Ghosty fam, Amy here. Welcome to The Activity Continues, a podcast where three soul friends talk about all things paranormal. Ghosts, hauntings, psychics, movies and TV shows, especially The Dead Files, and other spooky and spooky adjacent things. We also like to interview people in the paranormal community, as well as past Dead Files clients and other interesting people. Sometimes we even tell your stories. I hope you enjoy the show.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us again. Tonight, we discussed the Dead Files episode called The Aftermath, and it originally aired July 12th, 2014. Takes place in Florida City, Florida. And the content stuff, what do you guys think? Is there anything you think we should bring up?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
No, we talked a lot about hurricanes and devastation from them. So if that's a sensitive subject for you, you might want to skip this one. But there wasn't really anything else.
A little swearing, a couple deep dives off the rails.
A little bit.
Which is odd for us. So I hope
we're usually so straightforward.
Yeah. Usually we're right on track.
Right on topic the whole
half
time.
On the track though. Like one side is on.
One foot.
Like there's one person on the track and like I'm, hanging off the caboose and AP's driving and Amy's looking out the window. So
Oh, and am I trying to whip some shitties then too? See if I can get anyone flying.
Sure. Yeah.
Why not? We do have a little bit of housekeeping. We got a lot of new followers recently.
Welcome, everybody.
So welcome to all the new people who are finding us.
Thank you for following us. Welcome to the party.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
Oh, we
just kidding.
Appreciate you and sorry.
And we apologize.
I'm not apologizing. I don't know what we have to apologize for. We're pretty awesome.
We are pretty awesome.
It's true.
If you're here for a reason.
That's right. Yeah. And we're happy that you're
our
here.
Fun banter.
We are happy. Yes. It's like Olive Garden's slogan. If you're here, you're family.
There you go. In the club.
In the club, we all fam. It's from the TikTok.
We had a surge in downloads recently. Also, subscribers to YouTube and the newsletter. Got a bunch of newsletter people. Yeah.
Nice.
Welcome.
And we want to welcome our new patron, Carol.
Hi, Carol.
Whoop, whoop.
And we got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new YouTube subscribers.
God.
Jessica, Miss Lady Tria, Joey LePan, Chuck Petrie, and Ryan Etherton.
I hope
welcome,
that
you guys.
Chuck Petrie, it makes me think of the guy from Land Before Time. Wasn't there a Petrie in Land Before Time?
Yes.
Was that?
Yeah. Ducky and Petrie. And
he was the pterodactyl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
one of the movies that scarred so many of us as children.
So many of us. Like, who fucking wrote that movie and are they okay?
Yeah.
Because that was a woofta.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in therapy and you're a millennial, it's because of that movie.
Yeah, probably.
That's what started
and Land Before Time.
That is the same movie.
Not Land. Sorry. Never Ending Story is where I was going.
Oh my God.
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's very good. Oh, you should see it. Megan, you'd love it.
Atreyu.
I know there's something about a horse that dies. That's really disturbing.
It's you should watch it though. You'd like it. It's a good movie.
I probably would.
In the Swamp of Sadness or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that seems fitting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this in our sideshow episode, but those episodes are now going to be for Patreon/patrons only. So if you're not one, you didn't hear this announcement, they are now going to be only for patrons. And so if you want to hear our banter and our goofiness, come on over to Patreon.
Come hang out with a couple of friends.
Exactly. Get in before the end of the year and you can get in on the $1 tier. Otherwise, that's going away at the end, like December 31st, January 1st, something like that. And this is our last main episode of 2024. So and we will be back probably the second week of January. That's when we started this year.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're going to do. And season 6 is going to be a little bit different. Not too much, I don't think. We're probably going to stick along the same sort of stuff as we've been doing. Dead Files stuff, but also interviews with people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a random Hallmark episode every once in a while. But we might keep those 2 sideshows too. So
yeah.
But we'll see. And if you have any suggestions for episodes of the Dead Files you would like us to cover, or anything else you would like us to do, a path you would like us to veer off on, please let us know. Reach out.
But so this isn't OnlyFans.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do anything like that.
Just you left it really broad. You left it really broad.
Above the chest only.
Someone needs to get their mind out of the gutter, AP. Because I was not thinking that.
You just weren't on top of your game, Megan. Don't come at me for that.
Oh, I'm gonna come at you hard. Just kidding.
Good luck.
And for Minnesota, that's just not saying, excuse me, when I go past her. It's just excuse me. And then she knows. She's
it's not holding the door open for an extremely long period of time, waiting for you to come through it.
Yeah, it's opening the door and walking through, and then turning around and maintaining eye contact as the door closes.
And then you hear the click of the lock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, did you want to come in?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did you want to come in here?
That's how Minnesotans fight. We don't say thank you.
You also call it casserole instead of hot dish. That'll get a Minnesotan going.
It's
not Megan though.
Thing.
It is the same thing.
It is.
It's just not the words.
I call them casserole.
Hot dish.
Oh,
green bean casserole.
What are you, Iowan?
Yeah. Wow.
She is from Albert Lee.
That's
pretty
Leah.
close.
It's pronounced Leah. That was below the belt, AP. Just kidding.
I mean, you are a border.
It's fact, yeah. We're only 20 minutes from the Iowa border, so.
That's right.
Anyway, so this is what you can get in.
So that's what this episode is. And we hope that you enjoy. And we're kind of punchy now because we just finished recording that.
And it's been 2 hours.
And I want to just go lay on the couch.
I know.
I gotta go take my bra off. So
okay, you do that. I'll send you the link of the bra I bought.
I said no OnlyFans.
She's not going to do it on camera. I mean, you can't.
You.
I'm gonna stop
for
recording.
$1. Just kidding. I'm worth at least $2.
At least.
Let's get into the episode now.
Enjoy, everybody.
Enjoy the episode.
So welcome. Tonight we are discussing the Dead Files episode called The Aftermath. It originally aired July 12th, 2014, and takes place in Florida City, Florida. Here is the overview in case you're not sure which episode this is. This is the one that takes place in Florida City, Florida, which is an area that was hit hard by Hurricane Andrew back in 1992. The clients are Tracy and Travis and their children. They've been experiencing apparitions, touching, bruises, mood changes, hearing voices, and seeing shadows. Steve tries to do some digging in the community, but some people won't speak with him. But he does talk to a reporter, a professor, and a former cop. They give him some history on Hurricane Andrew, the former owners who scammed people by selling mosquito-infested swampland, and a police shootout that happened in 1916, leaving 3 policemen dead. Amy sees an elderly woman, senses some intense energy, and a poltergeist that someone in the house is eating. She also sees a shadow figure that is messing with the man in the house. But the worst might be the many hurricane victims that are still stuck on this land and asking for help. Amy and Steve make connections on which each of them has learned, and Amy gives the family some recommendations, including one that's fairly uncommon. But do they do what she suggested? Stay tuned to see if the activity continues. All right. What do we got?
What do we got?
What do we got?
I don't know.
The first thing I noticed is when Matt does the clearing, he says, since Amy can see 2 worlds, this one has to be free of any leading information, which I thought was a really cool way of explaining that. Like, they make it sound like in later ones, and especially when we talk to the clients, they've said, like, Amy is a little ADD, and if there's anything that would catch her attention, she'd be like, oh, look, and then not, stay in the moment. And I like that he said Amy can see 2 worlds.
I kind of wish he would have kept it going, because I thought that was really, like you said, it's a really interesting way of saying it. And I wish they would have kept that going.
Well, and there are a few times even, and I don't know that we've caught up on an episode of this recently, but where she'll even describe, like, I'm a dead medium, which means I see people in their death state. And she doesn't always, that's not always described, but then she starts describing people looking like, in this episode, we hear about people looking like zombies that are
Mhm.
half eaten,
Mhm.
you know, and which is a great way to describe something. But, you know, it's, I don't know, there's definitely some different ways. And I was wondering, like, is it because it was an early season? Because, and they were trying to still get this together? Because this is in one of those that is in the seasons like 1 through 4 are all screwy based off of how they're labeled, because there were so many episodes in a few of those seasons, I think is what we found out. And then they cut them into making different seasons.
They cut one big long season into 3, I think, in the beginning.
And then, so like, Amy, you saw this as being season 4 or season 5.
Yeah.
And on Travel Channel On Demand, it's season 3, episode 14.
Really? Because in Discovery, it's season 4, episode 1.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I had it as season 4, episode 1. IMDb shows it as season 5, episode 2.
Mhm.
And Amy, you saw it as season 3, episode 14, which means it's at the end of season 3.
Yes.
So that would make sense why I would see it as season 4.
Except that there's
But I don't know
episodes
why.
in season 3. So
Yeah.
I think I really should take a look at some of those other episodes that are in season 3 on demand and see which ones are aligned based off of, you know, the chart that you have for us to look at, and see where those cut, because I think they just get mixed up into season 4.
Yeah. And
they're not in order necessarily.
Right. I was going to say, I think there might be somewhere they didn't even release them in the same order, which is bizarre.
But you can tell that, this feels more like season 4 based off of her hairstyle.
Yes.
Amy's,
because season 1
very
and
pin-up.
2, seasons 1 and 2, she had that very dark, more shag, long bob type one.
Yeah. Yep.
So, which I also saw somebody, I think, complaining about her hair in something else. I'm like,
God, just let it go.
Just let people do what they want with their hair. It's
what
fine.
does it matter?
Not
God,
hurting you.
people always have to bitch about something.
Yep.
Most of the time, something that is none of their business.
Exactly.
Sex lives, gender identity, sexual preference,
not your
hairstyle.
fucking business.
Not getting answers in an episode, because I feel like there's a lot of questions left in this episode that we don't actually get answers to.
Yeah.
Like we just get told a previous owner for a lot of the explanation, which doesn't satisfy me at all. Like the next
or the
one
landlady.
Where Amy starts talking about like, oh, there must be somebody doing something dark and doing witchcraft. I just said, great, is Brittany here?
Yeah.
It's kitchen magic, first of all. Second of all, have you read her father's book?
Yeah.
Because if not, don't even talk to me.
I could get through that.
I know we talked about this a little at the last episode, but I don't remember if I left it in for the final release. But we might actually go ahead and recap that Brittany episode, because we've had a couple people asking for it. And the reason people ask for it is because that family was so kind of wackadoodle. And I think that people... I mean, okay. So
you are so choosing your words right now.
I was trying. I know. Well,
I could see your Rolodex going like, which one
should I say that? We were a little unkind when we first recapped that, and it was one time when we were all over at my house. We were sitting here, we were drinking champagne.
We had a lot of. Well, I had enough
loose.
Champagne to where I got a little loopy.
Yeah, we were all just like, what the fuck, and so luckily it didn't record very well. So the sound quality is awful, and so we didn't release it, and it's a good thing that it didn't.
It is
that it didn't work, because
we were harsh.
It was not harsh. It wouldn't have been nice to release that anyway.
I felt bad afterwards.
I did too. I felt really bad, especially listening to it again. I'm like, I don't think we can release this.
No. I mean, there's a lot of fairness to it, but it was like sitting around chatting with friends at the bar talk.
Which is basically what it was, except the bar was your office.
Yep.
And so,
and it will be like that in the future, but it will be more mindful.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So this one, I don't mean to compare the Brittany episode to this because it's not. We liked these clients.
Yeah, we really did.
And we believed them, just to get that out of the way. Anyway, so yes, witchcraft. And I was a little confused because I thought that Tracy and Travis were the homeowners. I didn't get until halfway through that they were renting.
Yeah.
Because Steve was talking about the owner.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought when Tracy was talking about the owner, I thought she was saying like, when we moved in, we bought the house from this lady and this is what she told us. It wasn't. That's their landlady.
Yeah.
See,
who
I
was
got that right
saging the
away.
place.
Yeah,
no, I didn't get that.
Yeah, and I was like, you didn't think that was a bit of a red flag?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't think to be like, cool. Why are you saging it for the like? Why are you doing all of this? Because to me, I would be like, cool. So what's the deal with that? Like,
well, and see, and I followed with Amy that they had bought this house to move in because they talked about, wanting their kids to have their own rooms, which is totally fair. And, all of that sort of stuff. And just, the landlord, when they said that, I just figured it was like, oh, that's somebody who had rented out that house. Because my brother bought a house that had been rented out. So it was the family who owned it were the landlords of the house. Yeah. So to me, it was just that same aspect. So
see, I caught it right away that they were renting, but
there was a lot of stuff that they didn't put out right away. Like even when Tracy is pointing at the picture, she doesn't name her husband. She names her son. She doesn't name her daughter, and then
she didn't name anybody except the baby, the son Travis.
Yeah, and then
Travis Jr.,
which then I got confused with when we go to meet client Travis. I'm like, well, why are we meeting the kid right now?
He grew up fast.
Yeah,
he was like 9 in the last scene. Yeah, and the baby. She just calls him the baby.
The baby.
Daughter's just the daughter. We do find out later her name is Rosario. I don't remember what the baby's name was.
Did we ever find that out?
We might not have found
it's
out.
the dad. Somebody says it at some point in time, but I don't remember.
Okay.
Oh, I could not get past. I've never in my life seen a person wearing a girl before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, oh my God,
they both have it.
Yeah, they both do. They were both, I felt so bad for her because you could tell like she had worked hard. Her and her husband had worked hard to get their kids a room, like their own room.
Yeah.
And it was just, they couldn't sleep in it.
This
one,
really
I texted Amy earlier today and I was like, I really like this. Like, these are my favorite couple, I think, so far.
Yeah, they were cool.
They were
cool. I liked them too.
You could just tell like they were together, like in love.
So
anyway. We talked about how the owner, the landlord, had saged the house, and
was the landlord doing it wrong too?
Yeah,
and just pissing things off, and like
she probably made it worse, not knowing what she was doing. Because I don't know if we want to get into this yet, but like when Amy senses that somebody in the house was doing witchcraft, and she thinks it's the current people that live there, surely it's the landlord, right?
Not necessarily, because it could have been that there was somebody living there a week before they moved in.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, the landlord just had to do a little bit of cleaning and was saging stuff because they didn't. I got more of the feeling that it's potentially they were doing that because of the previous people
got it.
That they rented to.
Yep.
And then
I don't know.
Maybe just didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
In the reveal, when Amy said that, I saw that Tracy kind of looked over at her husband real quick. So I was like, is that you? You have something to say to Amy? Yeah. That really like, and maybe it was edited that way.
I feel like there was a lot. I mean, obviously we know there was a lot cut out of the reveal, but there's one point in particular. I'm like, ooh, something happened here because Amy is leaning so far away from Steve. Like body language is saying something happened. And it might have been around that.
I just noticed that when in the reveal, when she said that and her eyes darted quickly to her husband, I was like, there's something there. Like that's somebody.
It could just be, I bet it's that crazy bitch who lived here before us.
Yeah,
it could just be that they know who she's talking about. It doesn't necessarily mean it's them.
Right.
Yep.
But So yeah, we have mood swings and mostly with Tracy.
Mhm.
And she says
Mhm.
she feels much better when she's not in the home. She's perfect and happy.
Which again, I mean, not saying that it's not paranormal, but like
Mhm.
when you're at a home, you have 3 kids, you have a husband, you have a lot of responsibilities that you can forget about when you leave home.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not saying there's not something there, but I'm also saying,
I had the exact same notes down. I
Yeah.
know we've brought it up before, but this always seems to be something that's like, well, we had a perfect marriage.
did
Really?
you? Because
I mean, I've been in friendships and long time family relationships, and you fight and then you get
Mhm.
over it. And sometimes you just are like, I can't stand being in this house. And you slam the door and you leave and you drive around, get your ice
And-
cream, and you
and
come
if
back and
you-
you feel better.
and
Ooh,
if
ice
you do
cream
have a
sounds
perfect marriage, then something's wrong because
Something's
no
weird. Yeah.
relationship is perfect.
probably not communicating.
Yeah.
No.
If it's quote
And
unquote
Well, and
marriage
perfect.
is fucking hard.
Well,
Like
and-
it is hard.
Yeah. I put in here, and I know, like, again, going to the, not saying it's not paranormal, but
Right.
Mhm.
do we ever wonder if some people hope that it's something
Mm,
else affecting them so they don't have to admit that maybe
it's
the
over.
relationship has run
Yeah.
its course or
Mhm.
something is over? Not saying that that's this case here,
Right.
but how many times do we see people that are like, well, it all stemmed from this? Or it's like, is that where it stemmed from, or was that the last straw?
The
Yeah.
only explanation is it's
Yeah.
paranormal. That's
That's the
why I
only
got
one.
diabetes.
But that's
So-
God, that was another good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Anyway, so they are not sleeping is despite them, like we said, wanting to get this house so their kids have their own rooms. They don't sleep in there because they're too scared. So they sleep with mom and dad, which is sad. I want to mention that Tracy explains how she saw her son lifted off the floor, like hanging by the back of his shirt.
Mm-hmm. But we don't really hear anything about that from Amy
Ever
at
again.
all.
No.
No, I don't know who that would have been. And I got the impression Steve didn't really believe her.
Well, and she said there was
Like,
when she was like, "What?" Steve was like, "What happened?" She says, "My husband got off the bed and he fell completely." I'm like, did your husband trip getting out of the bed, or was it the kid that fell? Like,
To me,
didn't.
the kid
I think she
fell.
said the kid fell because it felt like he was dropped.
But that's not how she stated it,
Right.
Right.
You know, because she said he.
Yeah.
She was there, and then Steve was like, "Well, what happened? My husband got off the bed and he fell completely." And it was like, I think she means the kid fell.
Mhm.
It was just poor wording.
That's what I
Yeah.
got. But yeah, she did word it strangely.
Also, I thought it was interesting that nobody else has really had that aggressive of an attack that we hear about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
just
again,
the
that
bruises and
but nobody's been attacked picked up.
Yeah.
So to me, that was a little interesting.
And then the other thing I thought was interesting is when Tracy and Steve are talking and she gets touched right then while they're talking. And he is like, "So you're getting touched right now?"
he rolled his eyes.
He did. I felt again that he was not buying it. But I mean, seemed pretty sure that something was touching her in the back of the head. And he was facing her, so he couldn't see the back. He couldn't see like if her hair moved or anything. I don't know.
That I thought was genuine. Like to me.
Oh, I think she felt that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she got weird after that, and she
did.
started to get
'Cause
agitated.
She was freaked out.
And her mood was changing right there. So but it could just be her mood changing because weird things are happening, not that
Or
something is changing her mood. Yeah.
Paranoia can cause a lot of that change too. If you're standing somewhere and you're talking about something that happened, because she just talked about her son being lifted by the shirt by his neck, and then she's flicking at her neck. Is it just
it's like when you see
potentially
videos of spiders and then you feel the spiders on you? Could it be that same thing?
Or like for us, last weekend I pulled a tick off my hand. It was just walking, but then you'd get the creepy crawlies the whole time, like something's happening.
How many more are there?
Yeah. So not saying that there's not something that happens there, but does that play a factor into it when you're talking about it in the room it happens and stuff like that, where you just start feeling like freaked out? How many times have we all done the shake or something, or when you're drifting off to sleep and you get that jolt and all of a sudden
nap jerk?
I hate that.
I know.
Freaks me out.
Yeah, I get that once in a while too.
So all of that can add together and then cause like getting that being paranoid and starting to freak out a little bit and cause that mood change. So just being the, Greg of the group.
Oh boy, you
The
got a
big
lot to
title.
go.
Yeah, that's a big. Those are big shoes to fill.
All good.
Yeah, let's see what else we got. Back to the what makes you think this is paranormal. We
hmm
both had some, or Amy and I anyway, both had some things. I don't know if Megan did too, but I said it's literally the only explanation.
Mm-hmm.
And then Amy, you had a point.
Oh yeah, I said it could not be anything else, but that's what people with affairs say too. And maybe it's just gaslighting.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't get that vibe from him. I don't know. I
This
didn't
is all
get,
joking around.
Yeah, no, I didn't
because
get it.
Do you not see my eyes that are in there too? Going.
She did the eye emoji.
Yes, I did see that.
They see shadow figures going down the hall. That was creepy.
Rosario was it was like pulling teeth talking to her.
Yeah, she was really nervous, I think.
She was.
And scared, like something might have been going on in the room with her, like it was with Tracy while Steve was talking to her. But
they also said she doesn't sleep at night.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she sleeps in the daytime.
She said she has to put earphones in.
Yeah. And
because she hears voices.
And at the end of the episode, they also basically said she sleeps during the day because she can't sleep at night. So
I can't imagine. So does she not go to school, or is this the middle of the summer? Or I wonder.
No idea.
Well, it did air in June, so
it would have been recorded like 3 months before that, right?
So
or
unless maybe
who knows?
Unless she's homeschooled, or
or she's just partial days. We had some students that were at that that were
or she's just sleeping in class.
Had a lot of those too.
I did that.
Yeah.
But, I am curious, and we didn't hear a lot about this either at the reveal, but I'm like, is it because they know she can hear them? And so then they just keep standing outside her window yelling and hoping that she'll help them. But she doesn't know what to do. And I put like, ooh, guess we'll see. No,
we
spoiler
don't.
alert, we don't learn anything.
No.
There was a lot of unanswered questions in this episode. I felt like.
A lot of hanging air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the poltergeist, and maybe I missed it in the reveal, but I feel like
they didn't say anything about where who the poltergeist might be or might be causing
they didn't.
That was like, they were like, oh, there's poltergeist activity and somebody could be feeding it, but that's kind of where it ends. It's like, well, who is it?
And it sounds like the poltergeist is likely what's responsible for the kid getting picked up and for the, but and other things we've seen and heard is that poltergeist often is associated with teens or people who are coming into those teen years that are really uncertain and unsure about things. So is it possible that something was there and it disassociated from its original and now Rosario is playing into it?
Yeah, that very well could be. But yeah, I just felt like there were a lot of things that were unanswered like that. And the zombie thing didn't really, I mean, they did, but they didn't. I don't know. It was
they do, but they don't really connect it really well.
Yeah,
and so I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit because whoever lived there before started one and it stayed and it cut from them or disassociated from them. And now you've got Rosario that maybe has abilities that is feeding it with her fear and not being able to sleep and that sort of stuff. Like if my logic brain goes into that way, even though it's not fully logical to think of the poltergeist and that sort of stuff. But
there's an oxymoron.
I mean, if you're going to go with that there is a poltergeist, you're going to accept that, then you can still try and figure out why it is there and who it might be
and what's going on with it. So and then we hear from Amy about all the voices and things are outside of the window, and she describes them as a bunch of zombies, which I mean, to me, I'm like, well, didn't The Walking Dead really take place in the South? There's more Georgia, but
Georgia.
Yeah, but that's
Atlanta. Yeah.
Thank you for listening. The activity continues. We'll be back after this short break.
Hey everyone, AP here, and really wanted to talk to you about Wantable, which I love because I hate going to the store to try clothes on. I don't like being in the dressing rooms. The lighting's always bad. The mirrors aren't great. I'd rather try things on in the comfort of my own home. So I use Wantable to treat myself. Go in and select a style edit. Have them send that to me. Get surprised by the different items that might be in there. Some are outside my comfort zone, but it's funny how when I try those on, they end up being some of my most favorite items. I have a handful of items in my wardrobe right now that I have worn several times in the last couple months, and they're going to get continued use. Highly recommend you check out Wantable.
Get $25 off your first order by going to theactivitycontinues.com/wantable. And here's how it works. You pay a $20 styling fee. Whatever you keep, they subtract the styling fee plus another $25. So you basically get $45 off your order. It's a great deal. Free shipping and returns. Wantable edits your style.
So, I mean, it fits. It fits.
Yep. Okay, so then we learn more about the hurricane, which not to be confused with a cyclone
Which that
or a
I did
tornado.
not realize how bad that was.
It was bad. It was bad. And that was a trailer park. The area where the houses are now was a trailer park, and it was like floored. White.
There's a lot of places too in those southern states. Like we watched Twisters over the weekend, and they're in Oklahoma, and they keep running into buildings being like, "Do you have a basement?" Like a lot of those places don't have basements.
Yeah.
And because it's clay, you don't build structures into the clay. You build like points to hold things down, but you don't. And in Everglades area too, I don't think there's a lot of, and
it's all
obviously
swamp,
could be wrong, but I don't think there's a ton of basemented areas. Not like what we see up here.
Yeah.
Right. Because we get a lot of twistas.
Yeah.
Up here.
But yeah, I like he showed me not he showed me, but like the show when it showed all the, I didn't realize how bad. $26 billion they said it cost.
Which, by the way, is in today's money is about a little over 58 billion.
God, that's
How much
amazing
was
that it's
Katrina?
jumped that high in this amount of time.
Do we know how much
inflation.
Katrina cost?
I don't have it down. I'm sure it's somewhere, but the fun fact, not fun fact, but the most
scary fact,
the costliest weather events in the top 10 costliest weather events, most have happened in the last 10 years.
So Katrina was $125 billion.
Yeah, and then if you
Hurricane Katrina is tied as the costliest hurricane to have ever hit the United States with 125.
The one in Texas was pretty bad a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
19,
what's the one that Katrina is tied with?
Let me look.
Oh, you don't have to go digging. I assumed it was in the article that you were reading when it said it was tied with something. I thought it would say what it was tied with.
1,392 fatalities for Katrina. Jeez, God.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a difference of the costliest and the deadliest of storms.
Yeah.
And another interesting thing, which is kind of ironic too, storms with female names tend to have a higher death count.
Really?
Because people don't associate them with being deadly.
Bitches are mad.
Wow.
So yeah, if you look at the history of like
God, the misogyny is deep.
But if you look at the history of storms, that typically the female named storms tend to be more deadly, even if they're not the biggest.
Wow. Maybe the divine feminine has something to say about that.
Yeah, because you think about, you have Katrina, wasn't Louise one, Irma.
Anyway, so yes, well, let's see. Oh, how did they die? Amy thought that was a stupid question.
Seriously? I mean, come on. I don't know. Like, can we...
They were hit by tree limbs. They drove their cars into high water. One man got crushed by his home.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that Larry the Cable Guy bit where he's talking about his grandma died, and the one friend's like, how'd she die? And he goes, she flipped her vet. Like, she was 90 years old.
What do you think? How do you think she died?
How do you think they died? It was a hurricane.
And after you told me that the first time, I don't know if I think we talked about it on the show, and we laughed about that. And then right after that, the queen died. And so we were like, she flipped her vet. That's how
She
she
flipped
died.
her vet. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway,
Okay, so
let's
I'm
see.
looking at the deadly hurricane, top 15 deadliest hurricanes, and they're all women, except there's an Ian, and then
Ian, Harvey.
no Harvey.
Harvey's what hit Texas a few years ago, 5 years ago, I think.
Galveston hurricane of August 1900 is the deadliest, number 1.
1900.
1900.
Wow,
The Galveston hurricane was the deadliest weather disaster in U.S. history, according to NOAA. The storm system formed over the Atlantic and traveled to the Gulf of Mexico while picking up strength and speed. It hit landfall in Texas, just south of Galveston. Its power tore across the Great Plains, then weakened as it traveled northeastward through the Great Lakes, New England, and southern Canada.
So it had so much power that it continued over the landmass for a long distance. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
anyways, most of them were female names.
Yep. And yes, I did think that it was a stupid question from Stephen. And yes, there are such things as stupid questions. It's kind of like when he asked the question about like, did anybody else die on this die here in this town? Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
There are more. Lestat's coming around the corner any minute now, so you can talk to him.
Yep. But I did like as Amy was describing them, and Amy, I know you put in here like eaten, like they were eaten.
Yeah, she said it looked like they'd been eaten. Their legs are missing and stuff, but she didn't know they were hurricane victims. She apparently didn't even know where they were.
Because being in their death states and torn and kind of literally ripped to shreds, like I thought, well, that is a great description for what she's seen, because she's associating, with, and probably this is also around the time Walking Dead was fairly popular.
It was, because it was 2014. Couldn't they have been just decomposed though? Like, couldn't they be appearing to her in their decomposed state?
Potentially, but then you have these victims who are most likely very, you're not in one piece if you're picked up by a storm too often.
Anyway, then we find out that the current owner of Tracy's property did not want to talk with Steve.
Yep. Neither did anybody.
I was like, what? Wait, they owned it?
Former tenants. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then I thought later about that, and I'm like, oh, wait, she was the one that was saging.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, I wonder if something was like, maybe there was some legal stuff in the works and they didn't want to talk to, they weren't allowed to talk to anybody.
Maybe.
Who knows? Like the landlord could have been suing the former tenants for, doing witchcraft, and who knows?
Would they have allowed the filming to happen in the first place then?
That does seem weird. They would have had to allow it.
That's what I got really confused. So they didn't want to talk to him, but I would assume that they would have had to have gotten permission to be there, because even though it's where these people are living, they don't own the property.
Right. Yeah. I imagine, the person who owns the property has to be the one to give permission to film there. So, yeah. So Steve does talk to a professor who talks about
the swindlers.
Yes,
as I
the
call
Tatums, the landowners.
I'm assuming this is a nickname, but Smiley.
Yeah, it's a nickname, I'm sure.
Smiley Tatum.
Smiley Tatum.
Also, in the picture, he's not really smiling. So
that was a fairly common nickname for people.
Maybe it's ironic because he wasn't smiling.
Guy Smiley.
They're like, we'll call you
a lot
Smiley.
of those tintype photos too. You had to sit for a long period of time.
You couldn't smile in those.
No, because all of those, especially ones that had the old exposure, they weren't like the snap of your phone or Jordan's camera there, Megan.
What?
What? Are you kidding me?
Always been.
Yeah.
Now you're going to tell me people didn't have cameras that they carried in their pockets.
The next you're going to tell me is that TV wasn't always in color. What are you trying to say?
Don't believe a word she says, Megan.
It's lies.
The lies.
The lies.
Yeah, so these people they were selling land to people who were buying it up sight unseen. Mm-hmm. And I looked this up because when you're talking about a land or a property that is sight unseen, I was like, is it really sight, SIGHT, eyeball sight, unseen, or is it the site has not been seen? The site of the
SITE.
property has not been seen, SITE.
Yeah.
But I looked it up. It is sight, SIGHT, unseen, which means it not necessarily always land. It could be anything. You could buy this cup, sight unseen. So it is SIGHT for those who were curious.
Yeah. Never buy a house sight unseen.
No,
Not good.
Oh,
probably not a good idea.
There were so many people when my
Oh, I
brother
know.
was
Yeah.
hunting for a house, and they were also waiving inspections and
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
Do not waive the
No,
inspection,
Don't
even if you
waive
lose out
the
on the house.
inspection. Yep.
Here's the thing. I've
You-
seen on TikTok.
So you know it's true.
Are we at least 3 TikToks now?
At least.
Everybody take a drink every time.
Yeah, we
either
should
Amy
know
or
the
I
God,
say
I'd
that.
be
You'd be
hammered.
dead. But yeah, these home inspectors are showing like these flipped houses.
Mm-hmm.
It is so bad. Like it makes me never want to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, my sister and brother-in-law, even though they have a great place where they're at, but the guy who lived there before them must have fancied himself as some sort of handyman.
Mm,
And
that's
he's
the worst.
just, I mean, they're gonna have to have all their like wiring replaced
Yep.
and stuff
God,
because things
no.
weren't done right.
That's
And
what our last house was like.
there's just like there's a spot where when the tornado came through and it took a part of the fascia off the side of the house, then you look at like the edging where it's the roof as it's just before it meets the rest of the roof. It's like random ass 2x4s and 2x6s.
Sure. Right.
There's gaps there, which is why they always had hornets coming in and out because they didn't know where they were coming from.
Right.
So,
So I saw a TikTok and the guy was talking about
Drink.
it was like a voiceover and it's showing like horrible wiring. And it's this guy who's doing wiring for somebody. And she's like, oh, my grandson did the wiring for this house. And he goes, oh, I bet. And then he goes, how long ago does house burn down? And she goes, 2 years. Wait, how'd you know? And because he did faulty. But like, that's what it reminds me of is these flipped houses cutting all these corners.
Yep.
It's so bad.
Yep.
So the moral of the story is never waive an inspection because you will be fucked.
No.
Yeah.
Even if you lose the house.
And then you should have lost
then
the
you
house and
should
you'd
have
be
lost
glad
the
that you
house.
did.
Yes.
Because you could have burned down inside of it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Before we move on to, I know I wanted to come back to those pictures really quick.
Yeah.
I think he might have been called Smiley because he's got a smirk in that picture though too. And you don't call somebody smirky.
You could. I'm going to start calling you Smirky now just to prove a point.
What I actually appreciated this time is that the Dr. George did not call Flora just a beautiful woman. So many times the women are just described as she was a pretty lady or she was beautiful.
Pretty lady.
But she was high society, but she was also very educated.
I did notice that he said that, which also for that time period is rare for a woman to be educated.
She grew up in a family with money.
Yeah. Well, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah. And they owned 4 mansions.
Amy, I like your note later on where Dr. George says she became a regular person.
Yeah. And I wrote, gasp. Not a regular person.
The worst kind of person to be.
Well, but how did she get there to begin with, everyone? Yeah,
they swindled.
This isn't the first story in Florida that we've heard of this.
No,
we had at least one other one where they were parceling off parts of the Everglades.
Yeah. Well, that's where the whole
joke was this one.
No.
Yeah. That's where the whole joke comes from, where you say if someone's gullible, you say, hey, I've got some swampland in Florida for you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've
that's
never
what
heard that until right now.
No, I've heard the oceanfront property in Arizona. That's a song. But this isn't the first one because we had the one where they were going to build like the townhouse condos or something of that nature. But yeah,
it was the same thing.
But it was the same thing. It was around the same time frame. Yep. It was because it's warmer. You're getting the people out of Detroit or Michigan or up north
or
to
Minnesota.
Get into Well, in both cases, I think they stayed in Michigan, or it might have been Michigan and New York or something like that.
Because I live in Minnesota, and I don't like the winter.
But it's
better
just
than
kind
the summer.
And
no.
The description of it, that's our hunting land in the summertime. Hot, swampy,
Full of mosquitoes.
full of mosquitoes.
Hell,
Not
no.
necessarily
My
flooded,
drag
but
name. Hot, swampy, and full of mosquitoes. Takes the stage.
I bet you're very, very popular.
okay, Shrek.
People smack me a lot. Get it? Because you
Got it. Got
the
it.
mosquitoes. Did you get it?
But
Yeah.
Got it.
That's good.
But Amy's description of her having to become a regular person, it's like
That made me
in
laugh.
Ghosts.
Yeah.
The rich woman who has to become like
Hattie or
yeah,
is that her
Hetty.
name?
Yeah. I just imagine her having to become a person without
Regular
means.
person.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
The worst
And
kind.
when she always jokes she doesn't joke in the show. She's constantly like, well, we just threw cocaine around everywhere. It was great.
I do like that show.
I need to
Uh-huh.
watch that show because I feel like I'd like it, but
You
right
would.
now,
both
Right.
both the American and the British are good.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
I started with the American and
Yeah,
Amy
I
started with the British.
yeah.
So, but they're both very good.
I'm watching the American one now. The British one I'm done with. They
I'm
didn't go as
watching-
long.
Face Off, and I can only watch one show at a time because I'm
Oh.
weird. So once Face Off is done, then I will probably move on to that. But
Mhm.
they're just so talented in that show. It just makes me so sad.
Yes.
In Face Off, you're talking about, not in
Yes.
Ghosts. Okay.
They probably could have
No.
made what these zombies look like outside of the window.
Yeah,
They
I
probably
bet.
could have done that in like 3 hours. Okay, maybe a little longer, but it's just
Need a
I
little
love
longer
it.
for the silicone molds to dry.
I just think it's the coolest show, and I'm so sad that it's
Well,
canceled.
I'm glad I
Anyway,
introduced you to it.
I appreciate it. They're just so fun. Anyways, not
Anyway,
And
I
now
know
back
we-
to attachments.
back to attachments. Oh,
Yes.
that could be a name of our episode. Back to
back to
attachments.
attachments. I'll
Write
write
that
that down. Jinx.
If I jinx you both, does that mean you're quiet until I say
Oh,
your names?
no.
Well, I mean, we do talk too much, so it might be better
Yeah. I mean, on our talk show.
on our talk show.
Talk show. Anyway, now we learn about a police shootout. We talked to Police Chief
Mhm.
Rowley. R-O-L-L-E. I didn't hear Steve say his name ever.
They see
He
me
never did.
rolling. They hate
And
to-
yes, this was
Trolling.
in 1916.
1916.
it
The
wasn't
Rice
brutal.
Gang.
The Rice Gang
Oh my god!
did a bank robbery
For like the least
in a town
least,
nearby.
What's the word I'm looking for? Intimidating name.
Intimidating. Yeah.
The Rice Gang.
The Rice Gang. I'm
Well,
sure one
it
of
was
the names.
probably somebody's last name.
Their names were
I
Rice.
Because that's
know,
what most
but-
of them started with.
I know, but that doesn't make it more intimidating.
Was
No.
Bonnie and Clyde intimidating? Those names?
The names
Uh,
aren't, but now they are.
Now
Probably.
they are, but not the Rice Gang.
Yeah.
I'm the Rice Gang. Watch out! I'll throw my stuff at you at weddings.
No, don't do that. It kills birds.
I know.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, there's 3 policemen
These
were
crooks.
killed. 2 of them were brothers.
hmm
I don't know if we have to really go into that. It didn't. Amy didn't really connect it that much.
No,
Mm-mm.
I did not. This was another like loose end. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing that's really talked about.
Well, but what's funny about this one is when we do get to this. Oh, yeah. The guy's name was Frank Rice. That's why it's called the Rice Gang. He's the
yeah,
leader.
okay.
So we have the 3 cops that were killed, 2 of them brothers, 2
Mhm.
died on scene. They're like, well, one of them was just shot in the leg. Well, yeah, it probably hit the femoral artery.
Yeah, that'll
Like-
bleed bad.
Yep.
And also, it's 1916, so like medicine and doctor care is not great.
But dying on scene from a leg wound was kind of what they're like. Well, he died. He
Oh,
was dead at
yeah.
the scene. So
Yeah,
yeah, this one was just really interesting. And then when Steve talks about it at the reveal, he's like, "Well, I think you're connecting to this, basically." And she's like, "No,
she's like, no.
No,
no."
no.
So
I know, I
it's
love
think
not
that.
much
right
to
around-
go on, but it's this. And she goes, no, that's fucking wrong, you
Eh.
fucking idiot.
He didn't
Try
actually
again.
say that this time around, but yeah.
No,
No, we didn't.
I did notice that. And I was like, Amy, I love it when you do this. I love it.
I do too.
They do jump this way when she's channeling in the show. They talk about somebody captured and a prisoner, and but now it's like there's a dude possessing the living guy. I was like, when did we talk about the living guy being possessed?
We didn't.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I don't think it's Travis because he
No,
doesn't
I
have
don't
those
think it is.
experiences.
Yeah,
He's
Maybe
never
it was the
talked
people
about
that
that.
lived there before. Do we
maybe
know
because
how long Travis and Tracy lived there? Did
A
they
year.
just move in?
A year.
Okay.
Yep. So Amy says, we're back with Amy and she sees, everybody sees this guy and she's like, he's the dude possessing the other guy, the living one. And the spirit feels like he's been trapped. And so he's going to trap others with him.
Mm-hmm.
But they tie it in like it's supposed to be one of the sheriffs or one of the bad guys that was in this shootout. But
no,
Amy's like, no.
She says that's not them.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot that she brought up. I feel like that was not ever touched on again, at least that we saw. That doesn't mean they didn't talk about it in the reveal. But
yeah,
the cops, this possessing dude, the only potential tie that I get with Travis was when she's in the reveal, when she's talking about, this person would feel neck pain.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that ties.
And Travis says, my neck hurts right now.
Yeah, my neck hurt now. And
well, so does mine, but
from carrying the weight of this podcast on my shoulders.
Obviously.
I'm just kidding.
Thank you for your service, Megan.
I had to say it. It was right there. I'm just kidding.
Right there.
I'm totally kidding.
For the picket.
Right for the picket. I just plucked it. No, I don't mean that. This is, if anybody does, it's Amy.
Amy does the weight of this, and especially as we look at, I'm sorry, these AI pictures that you
my God.
They're all naked.
You guys, I'll put these on the socials, but yeah, I put in.
You're gonna have to do some cover up because there's
there's
that
one is so
pics.
long. Look at the one on the left. Why is it that long?
I know.
What is
the last one?
happening? It's the one at the top left. Unless that's a piece of cloth.
No, it's.
Oh yeah.
That is
because I was looking at the one on the bottom right below her elbow. There's a big one there.
I zoomed in on a couple of them because I was like, are they naked? Why are they all naked?
Because zombies can't be bothered with clothes. I like the second one with the one looking in that like has his hands on his head like that.
Well, those ones are clothed. Those ones have
why
clothes
is she sitting? She's wearing a very seductive outfit. Like
I know in not in the first one, but yeah,
no, not in the first one.
What I put in is a woman is sitting on the bed with a window behind her. They got that wrong.
That's wrong.
Through the window, we see a group of dead people gathered, peering into the window at the woman. They got that. They are dripping wet. Their clothes are all in tatters, and they have their hands on their heads, on their ears. Because that's the way Amy described it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why did they put her with her hand on her head in two of the three pictures? She's got her hands on her head.
I like the one with the zombie who's going.
I know. What's up?
When I zoom in a little bit, they are wearing like linen cloths over everything, but it's skin tight, or maybe it's just their skin becomes linen cloths kind of thing. Because there's no differentiation.
No.
If you look at the coloration, like especially in that first one, you see the guy like reaching forward, but then it looks like he's wearing a dress or something.
See, I thought that was his long schlong.
No, that's the one to the left.
Yeah, the left.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the one next to that guy.
Oh, I see.
The one who's holding onto the window.
Yes.
I'm pulling up my account right now. I want to see like if I can share my screen and show.
Mm.
Okay. Hopefully this doesn't screw anything up.
No, we'll find out.
We'll find out, won't we?
Oh, there we
So
go.
can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is one of the pictures. These guys are wearing pants.
Yes.
Kind of. But yeah,
They're not wearing tops, but they are wearing something on their lower regions. These look like they might be wearing something. These are mostly skeleton-y.
Yes.
And one of them, this one's coming right in through the window.
Yep. The one that's to the left there, where there's no bottom part of the window.
Right here?
I didn't notice. Yeah. It's like they're wearing a crop top.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Cleavage.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
well, this
is that supposed to be long hair in the background too? Or is that
where?
Right
here?
under the armpits?
I think that's
part of the dress.
part of the shirt.
Part of the shirt.
Or whatever
okay.
that is.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's part of the shirt. And then this is the other one. Yeah, there's the.
There's
I mean,
a long
they're
schlong.
wearing like clothy. No, actually, I don't think that's a schlong. I think
I think it's a tie.
it's a part of it's a tie.
But
yeah.
it's like
okay.
their skin became the clothing in this one though.
Yeah.
But
Well, You know what? AI is not going to take over
No.
anytime real soon, at least not this program.
All right, back to our regular scheduled program.
Yeah.
The reveal. Hey,
Yes, we're on the reveal.
get your bingo card out for the reveal
Oh,
because we
yeah.
have a dun marriage on the brink of divorce.
No way.
What? That never happens.
They are still married.
They are. Yes.
At least according to her Facebook profile.
page.
Yep. Yes.
Let's see. Oh, in one part where Amy says, I don't know if it was you guys or someone who lived here before, she looks at them like she's waiting for them to confess something, but then she says it's not them,
Mhm.
which I thought was a weird cut. And I felt like it was edited weirdly.
Mhm.
Which wouldn't be the first time.
I guess I felt there was a little bit of a pregnant pause, like to kind of see, like,
To see if
are
they
you
Are you
fess
going to fess up?
So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I think she was still debating, but she was
Mhm.
reading their energy between them or something, just to be like, she obviously is having trouble in this episode differentiating
Yeah.
what the hell's going on with the
Mhm.
living.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, same.
I will say I also liked Amy's description of a poltergeist in this one.
Yes.
She explained what they are a little bit again. And it was a description I've never heard her say before.
It was
Mhm.
very nice. Yeah.
And
you want to
she's-
read it, Amy?
Yeah, I'll read it. She said, a poltergeist is created by a living agent by the electrical charges that they send out into the air. It's just a mass of energy. I thought that was interesting. And it's just a mass of energy.
Mhm.
Like it's not somebody who was alive at one
Correct.
point.
Right.
But it can take on its own form.
It
'cause
can,
then-
yes, it can
like
become
what we
its own
talked
entity.
Yeah, what we talked about earlier is like, okay, if somebody maybe was created by somebody else and it disassociated or left
Mhm.
them and stayed. And I think it says emotional issues can beat it, but I think it's emotional issues can eat it.
Yeah.
Feed it.
yeah.
Feed it. So
Feed
it can,
it, feed it.
yeah, the
No,
poltergeist
I
gets
want
fed
to
by
be a
emotional.
poltergeist. I just
But I
edited
will
that.
say, I don't know if they just kept providing the same angle, but Travis had the same look throughout the entire
When
reveal.
I read that, I laughed out loud. He kind of did. Bless
you know,
him.
and I know there's a lot of information flying around here, but
He probably
there's just
was.
this constant like look of mass confusion.
Mhm.
He probably was pretty overwhelmed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's a lot. That's a lot to get in one night.
They showed the bruises that Tracy had. They did look like fingerprints to me.
They
Mhm.
they
Like
look
this-
like my dog stepping on my
Yeah,
legs.
it could have been. I
Why
get.
you gotta be like that, Greg?
Hey, someone's gotta,
Someone's got it.
Someone's got to drive this bus, or I'll drive
Yeah.
it right off the cliff to the ghosts. I'm just saying. They
Just
look
saying.
like
You know.
fingerprints.
yeah. Well, that dogs have fingers. Basically, they're called toe pads.
No.
Beds.
And let me tell you,
They're called
I've
they're
had-
called toe beans.
Well,
No,
I
that's
thought that was more
kitties.
cats,
That's
I
kitties.
call mine toe beans.
but their feet do smell like Fritos.
Fritos, yes, they do.
Ugh.
Oh,
do.
it's
It's their sweat.
wonderful.
I love it.
Gross.
Vivi needs a bath right now, and she
Gross.
smells like Fritos, and I'm like,
That's
I want some sour cream to
disgusting.
dip those toes in.
Ugh. Okay. All right.
It's better than what they smell like other times.
That's fair.
Let's
Moving
see.
on.
Amy talks about how she saw this woman in 4 houses, and Steve
Mhm.
does like a holy shit, like she got it, she nailed it.
Mhm.
Because up to now we did not know that the Tatums had 4 mansions. We just knew about the one. But then he
Mhm.
whips out 4 pictures, which it probably did happen. They just cut it.
Mhm.
And
No,
so
we knew about it.
we didn't know about 4 mansions, did we?
Yeah, we
I just
did.
think we
Yeah.
heard about one.
No, when Steve was talking to, I think it was the professor, he was telling him they had 4 houses.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
remember
pretty
that. I can go
sure.
back up and look, but I wasn't aware. I don't remember seeing these pictures until the reveal. But yeah, anyway, Amy knew, and she obviously didn't see this. Unless you ask Greg, then he thinks that she's been in cahoots the whole episode.
Gregory, just
Anyway.
stop it.
I don't think they didn't ever say 4, but
No,
they did
you're
say
right.
they did say they lived in more settled areas of Miami and beautiful
Mhm.
homes. You can get a sense of the wealth they had. And Steve says these are like small mansions.
So they
had-
probably did show the pictures
Got
back
it.
then.
They
and it was
showed,
just cut.
they showed one.
But I mean,
Yeah,
Steve probably saw the 4 pictures. They just cut and didn't show them to us until the
yes.
reveal.
Then I was just making shit up.
Yep.
Nope, for real.
It's
For
all right.
real. Okay.
And that's our show. Thanks, everybody. Megan's confused, and that's just the way it is.
And she saw a TikTok. And
And don't buy your house without an inspection.
that's right. That's the important thing. That's what you should be taking home from all of this.
Yes.
I noted that when Amy is in the reveal and she's talking about when she says, I think the living couple that was brought into dark magic brought him here. I didn't write out how she said that, but her accent got super weird in that
changed.
part.
Yep.
Like
and
she
it
was
changed through the
pronouncing
end.
words all weirdly. And I was wondering if she was like channeling a little bit right in that
she
moment.
might have been. Yeah.
Like hearing the voice and saying it the way the voice sounded in her ear.
There were
Or
a couple of times where her accent got really interesting in this episode.
Yeah, it did.
I'm curious because we've heard this kind of accent from her before, like this type. Could it potentially be one of her guides that's
It
also
could be.
talking
It
to
could
her?
be.
And you know,
Yeah.
like
Sure.
how if you move away from the Midwest, you start to lose a little bit of that bit. But if you talk
Yeah.
to somebody, all of a sudden it comes back real
Yeah.
strong, like Fargo or Drop Dead
Yeah.
Gorgeous. So, you know, maybe it's somebody that's one of her guides who's helping protect her during these
hmm
sessions that starts talking.
Yeah, it very well could be.
Just because it's this very similar accent that
Yeah.
we've heard before.
Yeah, and it's not from anywhere I know of that she's lived. I
Mm-mm.
mean, she grew up in Denver.
Yeah.
They sound like us pretty much.
When I lived in the Middle East, my friend would make fun of me because every time I would call my mom,
Mhm.
like my
Mom.
Your mom? Your mom at home?
It got strong. It got
Yeah.
real strong.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, mom. I miss you. Oh, for
Mhm,
cute.
mhm.
No. Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Well, then we see this sketch. This was a
Mhm.
cool sketch, I thought.
Mhm. This is the time frame that she's pulling away from Steve.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was supposed to be Rosario in the bed. I didn't feel like it looked like her, but
I didn't think it looked like her either, but I mean,
No,
know.
but Amy did say, because Travis is like, is that supposed to be Rosario? And she's like, well, it's a teenage girl with black hair.
mhm.
mhm.
So I think there was more focus on the action and
Yeah.
the creatures outside.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that's fair too.
Yeah. So I had alluded to there being something that we don't see very often here. We have seen this before, but not very often. Amy suggests that they get a curandera is how she pronounced it.
Mhm.
It's
A
spelled
curandero?
curandero. That's how it's spelled. But she said curandera. Curandera. And I Googled this, and it is a traditional healer or shaman who uses herbs, amulets, and religion to treat patients. The word curandera comes from the Spanish word curar, which means to heal. And they are primarily found in Latin America, but can also be found in the United States. They practice curanderismo.
Nailed it.
Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Obviously, I'm saying that wrong. I apologize for saying that wrong.
Yeah, not sorry if I'm
Not
saying
sorry
it
if
wrong.
I'm saying that. I know that it's wrong.
You are saying it
I
wrong.
just don't know how to do it correctly. A holistic approach to healing the mind, body, and spirit that dates back to Aztecan, Mayan, and Incan tribes. Some Latinos, Chicanos, and indigenous peoples from Latin America trust curanderos more than therapists.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if she's ever said that
Mm-mm.
since.
Well, I know I've heard that term before, so I had to have heard it from the Dead Files. I wouldn't have heard it anywhere else, I'm sure.
Mhm.
So I think it's come out before. I don't remember. I can do a little search in our
But have you watched this episode before?
Yes,
'Cause
I'm sure
that
I have because I've seen all of them. But
could be where you remember it from.
I thought
but
we talked about it before, though.
we probably did. That doesn't.
I'm going to
mean
look it
that.
up because I'm pretty sure we did, and I'll find whatever episode. Hi, friends. Amy here. I did a search on our past episodes, and we did have a curandero mentioned in our episode 115 called They Come from the Stars. This is the one where the father and son were being abducted by aliens. The Dead Files episode is called Evil Descends, and it's season 9, episode 8, or thereabouts, depending on which platform you watch. She does say that they're going to have to also clear the home of all the residual and current emotional muck.
Kind of what we're all feeling right now.
I liked the phrase current emotional muck.
That's a good
Yeah.
title.
We are feeling like that a little bit.
I'm fine.
We're all fine.
We're great.
We're great.
Let's have some mac and cheese.
Great.
Just not made by my husband.
I don't think. Oh yeah, there was some sweet moments between Travis and Tracy.
Yeah.
When,
This is what got me when
and he
she was
like, "Are you
crying
okay?"
and he's like, "Are you okay?" She's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah."
And then he said that they almost split up, but at the end of the day, she's still my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was sweet. And then they say they're going to take Amy's advice. And it ends with Tracy and Travis are searching for a curandero willing to help. The activity continues.
Willing to help? That's an odd phrasing to that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it could just be that it could be a very bad case and it takes a seasoned curandero to
Yeah.
help, and the ones that they've reached out to are not seasoned.
Yeah.
a
It's
thought.
just really interesting how it ties into the rest of this, that they weren't willing to talk to Steve. The
Yeah.
landlord wasn't willing to talk. The former tenants weren't willing to talk. There was a lot of things that weren't, it just kind of all went the same direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be easy. Not easy. It would be interesting to talk to them and find out
Mm-hmm.
what they did and what happened and if they're still in the house or.
Yeah. I liked this episode. I thought it was really, really good. It was interesting. I don't remember, doesn't mean it didn't happen because I don't have the best memory. But I don't remember. I know I might have mentioned it. I forget. But I don't remember seeing anybody like interacting with something the way Tracy did before.
Oh, where it happened right when
I don't
when it hit her.
remember
Yeah.
seeing that.
Yeah, we've had a few of those.
Well,
we?
that just doesn't mean that I remember them.
Well, even like remember
No.
the little girl that was being held by her mom and looking into the
Oh, yeah.
and we know that the camera person was over there, but you could just tell that there was something
was going on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We've had a few.
I meant phically interacting.
Yeah, but we've had a
them.
few of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I liked this episode.
Yep.
I thought, they seemed, I really, really hope that they got what they needed for the kids.
Yeah, I do too.
Because if you work that hard to get your children their own rooms, you want them to be able to sleep in it,
Right.
Mhm.
And that's really sad that they couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, especially, I mean, you think about those are very significant age differences for somebody to be sharing a room. Like it's one thing, like my sister and I shared a room until we were in high school, or I went to high school and she was still in middle school, but we're 17 months apart.
Yeah.
Not a 13-year-old girl and an 8-year-old boy or an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really do hope that they were able to get some help though, because they seem like a very sweet family.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And judging by her Facebook page, they have another baby now.
Do they?
Fairly recent. Yeah. Like Christmas time.
Oh,
so it'd be about a year old now, I guess, but I think it was last year. Okay. Should we wrap this one up?
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining us. We hope you have a lovely Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, winter solstice, or whatever holiday you choose to celebrate. If you don't celebrate any holidays at the end of the year, we hope you can enjoy some time for yourself.
And this is our last episode of 2024, unless you are a member or of patron, which why aren't you? In which case, next week, we will be releasing a sideshow episode number 18 for our patrons that we haven't recorded yet. So enjoy your break if you get one, and we'll see you next season. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when the activity continues.
Nailed it.
Hi, friends. Do us and yourselves a favor and check out our affiliate, 3 Spirit Drinks. They create plant-based, non-alcoholic elixirs that are cruelty-free and vegan, and they are designed to give you some of the benefits of alcohol without the hangover and other side effects. If you're looking to cut down on alcohol but still want the buzz, check them out. The link is us.3spiritdrinks.com and use the promo code TheActivityContinues for 15% off your entire order.